Afro Fish OG. What is going on, everyone? It is Afro again on another edition of Afro in the Know, the podcast where we talk about everything and anything, especially in the gaming sphere. Today, I have a good friend of mine and fellow content-ish creator, facial hair extraordinaire, Chrono Triggered. What's going on, dude?
What's up, buddy? What's up?
Not a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I had like almost. I went to go take a nap today because I was like, I have like no sleep. Like I've been, like I said, I've been playing Expedition 33. I was up till like 3 a.m. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna beat one. So there's 2 bosses I beat. Okay, I forgot about the second boss. The second boss was not as bad, but it did something that I'll talk about in one moment here. But first, before any of this up, I want them to get to know a bit of who you are, because like I said, since what you said, fall, right? Yeah, fall was like when we first started. Was you on one of my? You were on one of my lives, weren't you?
Yeah, that's how we met.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. So I thought so. I'm terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I got so much fucking brain damage.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. Well, I blame the concussions from football. So, hey, what's up, Flamingo? But yeah, I'm gonna give you let you have the floor here, and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're all about, man.
Oh, geez. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So I'm just an old head gamer. Been not gonna tell anybody how old I am, but I've been playing video games since 1985. If that says anything.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? I've been playing video games a long time. Like, this would be my 40-year anniversary of playing video games. Woo! So yeah. So I'm wow, I didn't even think of that. So yeah, I'm an old head. Really, I love video games. It's been a huge part of my life. Will continue to be a huge part of my life. I have a lot of opinions and hot takes, of course. But my approach to gaming really isn't around social gaming, especially since I started gaming at a young age. So I know that you have a lot of great takes and thoughts around the socialization of gaming. I'm trying to get into that a little bit, but I'm not so accustomed to that. But other than that, man, like that's who I am. That's where I'm at.
No, that's awesome. No, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is like it's a lot. Like, I mean, when you have that's what I think I love when it comes to gaming too. Not only does it connect so many people together, but like, it just, when you have a passion for it, it's just, it's something, it's something else. I honestly love it. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just great. Honestly. Like, I have nothing else to say when it comes to gaming. It's like, I'm a very, like, I at this point, I've said everything I need to say when it comes to it. But, I think we should start off in the most favored way possible. So that Kupka motherfucker,
so are we gonna say his name right? Like, put some respect on it. Like what's going on?
Isn't he like a Koopa turtle?
He is not a Koopa turtle. Although there are imps in the game which are molded after turtles.
Oh, that's actually kind of dope. No, and obviously for those who don't know, that's Final Fantasy VI. One of Chrono's favorite games.
It is the greatest game of all time. There is no greater game than Final Fantasy VI. I will die on that hill.
It is a game of all time. But like, I've never had a chance to play it, so it's one of those where that's one of those games I wouldn't mind the for me personally, a visual remaster. Like, I want them to keep it the same in terms of the combat and all that other kind of stuff, because that's a big thing for me when it comes to remasters. But I don't mind visual visual updates or even like how they did with Legend of the Dragoon. They just they still kept it the blocky stages of it, but they kind of just made it a little bit. It looks a little bit more vibrant, a little bit sharper. I don't mind those kind of remasters.
But why? Why? Okay, so here's hot take. There are 2 video games that should never be remade, should never be retouched, but only re-released as it stands for generations to come. And that is Chrono Trigger, my name, and Final Fantasy VI. Those games are so perfect in their execution and their playability. I don't see why we need to give it a facelift to appeal to new people. To me, that's like saying something like, the original Lion King needs a 1080p 120 hertz refresh for a release. I don't see why that's necessary.
I think for myself, like I don't mind, like I don't want to do like the Oblivion remaster route, right? I don't want them to do the Oblivion remaster. But it's like when they shift over, because like if you can make it, maybe I should correct. If you can make it smoother, I don't know how the game is. I don't know if the game is what PS1. Is it PS1?
Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, 6. Is it PS2?
Yeah. So of course it was PlayStation or it was Super Nintendo first, right? Final Fantasy 3 in the US.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Super Nintendo first, and then they did in the late 90s. They did a reissue on PlayStation when Square cut ties with Nintendo. Mm-hmm. There was a reissue of Final Fantasy 4 and 6, still not 5. I don't know why Square held on to 5 for so long. But 4 and 6 was reissued on PlayStation, and they added some CGI cutscenes into that one, which was a little weird because that's where we saw Terra get blonde hair for the first time because she originally had green.
So I wonder why they do that.
I don't know. Well, Square was weird in the late 90s. So this is where my old head really comes into play here because I like to call myself a living game historian. Square got really into CGI, and I think Square screwed up because in the late 90s, Pixar, right, as we know, Bugs Life, Toy Story, they started coming out with their CGI movies. Square focused solely on video games with their CGI, but their CGI was superior to any entertainment company back then. Anybody. Like, Square really pioneered CGI that, like, you wouldn't believe. That's where we get that movie, Final Fantasy Spirits Within. That just tanked and bombed and was weird, and I didn't even watch it as a big fan of Final Fantasy because it didn't make sense for me to go watch it. There's a reason why it tanked, but Square was just showing off their CGI powers, right?
Okay.
I think if Square thought like how Pixar thought, Square could have been Pixar, and that was a huge missed opportunity on their part.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't.
Anyway, we're deviating, but yeah, that's
no. That's fair. I did not know that at all. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy because I'm not gonna lie, my knowledge of Final Fantasy is like kind of super limited to only like certain games. So
I mean, you're a kid, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but like, like I was like, wait a second. But no, it's no. I gotta fucking recatch myself on that one. But I think that when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to Final Fantasy, like the ones, because I had a PS2, but my parents were so weird in like the way that like they kind of limited how we played games.
You grew up with like in a religious household, right?
Pseudo, kind of, a little bit. It was more like my parents were like, we don't want you playing any games that are rated M because you're gonna go commit the worst of the worst, and so which was weird because like my mom almost bought me Grand Theft Auto because she thought it was Gran Turismo. The funniest thing about it is I never asked for Gran Turismo. I asked for Need for Speed. I was like,
but they don't know. They're just I was like, the game with the cars.
Yeah, and my brain's like, these are not the same. You know what I mean? Like, and so, it was kind of just is what it is. Like, I'm not too worried about it. They did let me play The Simpsons Hit and Run, but but I didn't really it was kind of whatever. But I'm actually glad that they did. In a way, now looking at it, I'm glad that they did because they actually allowed me to play games that maybe I wouldn't have because I was like in that phase, where everyone's like, "Oh, I'm playing GTA." Oh, cool. Well, I'm playing Ratchet and Clank. I'm playing Sly Cooper. I'm playing Jack and Dexter. I'm playing Crash Bandicoot. I'm playing, what I mean? So I'm playing these games that are a little more. I'm playing games like Beautiful Joe.
That was an amazing game.
Oh, it's so good, so good. And honestly, my goal is to go back and watch the TV show because I know there was a TV show. I didn't really watch it, so
there was. I didn't know that.
Yes, there was a TV show to it. That's why I said there was like I made a video a long time ago about video games that characters that could probably have like their own TV show or something like that. And there was like obviously there was like ones like Star Fox. I think could make one. Captain Falcon already had like an anime, but I think you could rebrand him at this point. Like Bomberman was one of them. I think would be kind of fun, but like and there's a lot that could do it, and one of them it was I love it because it stemmed from Beautiful Joe. One of them that I said I believe this wholeheartedly. If this game would have came out in the early 2000s, it would have been a TV show, and that's the video game Arms for the Switch.
You know what? You think so?
I think so. And the reason why is because of the fact that it has this, when I look at Arms, right? And Arms is actually kind of fun. It is.
I never played it. I'm aware of it, obviously, but I've never played it.
It's kind of fun. But when I look at Arms and I look at the character designs, I look at how the game is played, I could easily see that being a TV show, like a Saturday morning cartoon show. It just looks like everything that you have the goofy villain, you have the like some of the main characters that the way that they look, just the premise of it screams that. This is why I loved Hi-Fi Rush, for example.
But you know what game makes me think that way too, and I'm being biased because I'm Mexican, so whatever. But it's Guacamole.
Guacamole. I've never played Guacamole.
Oh, dude, it's such a cool game. It's kind of like a Metroidvania-ish kind of game, and it's just got like wild animations, and it's about a luchador.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out a few years ago. It's on Switch. It's pretty cool.
I'll have to go check that one out. And that's why, like, I thought you were gonna say Parappa the Rapper, but I was like, I would totally.
I can't stand Parappa the Rapper. I can't stand it.
I just remember for a little bit. Another one.
Like, what is?
It's awesome. It's awesome. Like
it's really
another one that I could see. There's a couple other ones that I could see being TV shows as well that I think would be fun. But just because on the premise, not as much. And it's Crazy Taxi. I think Crazy Taxi would be a hilarious.
How do you get a story out of that though?
Because the story to me is that you have it set where it hasn't. I mean, this is a Saturday morning cartoon. This is and so some of the premises are pretty dumb, but they're cool. But I think you have it set in a world where it is a competition. It's a taxi competition to bring as many people as possible, and so you're allowing these the way that we're allowing these taxi drivers that it's like, all right, go, and they take off, and as they take off, the way that they're driving, they're going all over the place. You give them all their own little fancy ability stuff. I think it's easily doable. Another one is Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
Jet Set Radio is one that I've only. This is crazy. It's an old game. I've only briefly actually seen it. I've heard of it. I've heard people talking about it all the time. I've just never had a chance to actually play it myself. There is a collection set coming up for it, but I believe it's like skating, like rollerblading. I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Yeah, so it's like okay, I get it. Like in the animation style. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I could
immediately tell it was a Dreamcast game just looking at it. I was like, that's a Dreamcast game.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's called Air Gear. I forgot about that. I forgot about the anime of Air Gear. But I mean, we also said that stuff over Overwatch World. Overwatch could have been actually a TV show. You have the storylines, you have the plot lines. It was. I thought it was supposed to be, and it never turned out to be that way. But I feel like I miss and this is gonna sound like I'm going back to the past here. I do miss the fun of experiencing the Saturday morning cartoon rush.
Dude.
The rush itself, like
Dude, the whole like the anticipation of it. So, like I said, I'm an old head. I remember when Pizza Hut was good. Once upon a time, Pizza Hut was like amazing, and I'm not like one of those that's like romanticized by nostalgia. There's a lot of things that sucked back in the day too that are better now, but I guarantee you, you ask anybody that's an old head like me, when you ate Pizza Hut in the 90s, the ingredients were different, and we know distribution's different. Companies, they cut corners now, especially after COVID, and they use cheaper ingredients, oils, all that kind of stuff. Back in the 90s, Pizza Hut was such peak Pizza Hut. So like the perfect weekend was Friday, you got out of school, you would go to the video store, or even the grocery store, because even grocery stores back then had a video section, and you would rent a video game, and all you would do is play that video game and eat Pizza Hut that night. And then as soon as you wake up at like 7 a.m. on Saturday, because Saturday morning cartoons is starting.
That's fair. Like what we used to do when I was in high school, we were about half hour away from Pizza Hut. And so me and a couple of friends would just after our school lunch, we would just take off, and it was a goal to get to either Pizza Hut or McDonald's and back in like an hour. And I don't know why only a couple of us actually made it. I thought it was a terrible idea, but I did love pizza. I actually did a whole fucking section, like not section, a speech on Pizza Hut for one of my classes about the history of Pizza Hut.
Nice.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. Also, I missed the buffets.
So Pizza Hut originated from my home state then. So that's awesome.
Kansas, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Topeka, was it Topeka, Kansas?
Somewhere around there. I'm not sure where in Kansas. I know it originated. Two major fast food chains originated from Kansas, right? White Castle and Pizza Hut.
Okay.
Pizza Hut came somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. I'm from Kansas City originally. I didn't live out in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. I don't live in Kansas anymore, obviously. But yeah, so it's awesome.
No, that makes sense. And I loved it. I actually got a good grade for it. I was
Nice.
actually at the time, it was really funny. In my speech, I was able to make because my speech wasn't the greatest. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't that great of a speech in my opinion, but I was able to like flare it up a little bit by, at the time, Twilight and all that stuff was really big. So I compared like the hand tossed pizza to Twilight, and then like the New Moon, I compared it to like the stuffed crust. I was like,
wow.
and that's how, So I was like, and it was really big. So it's like, that's pretty much what sealed the A for it. But like, I just had like a piece of paper with just some blank, like, just a couple little tidbits here and there, and just let myself just go. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Y'all were going to Pizza Hut and stuff back in high school. I was studying and not being allowed to go outside.
Yeah, but that's what skipping class was about. That's what like sneaking out was all for.
Right.
Like, just do it. But yeah, but I remember that because like even me in high school, we had and it was only allowed for seniors. So when you get to your senior year, you could go out for lunch, right? Mm-hmm. But I never did because I didn't have any money, so I just
I just didn't care enough. Like a lot of it was like, if I'm gonna go to Pizza Hut and I'm gonna go eat at Pizza Hut, right? Especially like one of the little the buffets, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not gonna go there to rush. I'm going to sit and enjoy it. So and it was only during the week. They were like, no, we're not doing it on weekends, and I was like, oh, okay, fuck you too.
Do you have any Pizza Hut buffets up by you?
Not over here. When we moved back, I think they still have it. There was one. I don't know if they still do or not, but one of the places I went to still has it, I think. And so if they do, fuck yeah, I'm going to go every once in a great while, go eat it, and then absolutely just shit my bowels out later. But like it's a love-hate relationship, but
Well, I also remember the KFC buffets.
I never went. I'm not gonna lie. We had only one. We had one KFC. Like when I lived, where I lived in Wisconsin, where I was at, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was fucking terrible.
Oh, KFC is disgusting.
Oh, it is so bad. Like
It's disgusting.
people were so we have a quick trips. They're called. They're gas stations.
Yeah, QTs, right? Yeah, I know.
No, not QTs. Like Quick Trip, KWI.
Oh, the yellow one.
Nope, different one.
I thought it was yellow. Quick Trip's not yellow. I thought it was yellow.
It's red.
It's the KW. Okay, yeah, quick. Yeah. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've been all over Wisconsin. I know. Yeah, Quick Trip. Yeah.
And their chicken is better than the ones from KFC. Like
so, I don't doubt that gas station chicken is better than KFC. KFC is the most disgusting chicken out there.
It is.
I don't know why they buy it.
And we got now since I've been gone, the place that we're going back to, they got a Raising Cane's now, a Chick-fil-A, which I don't hate Chick-fil-A. I usually just get a grilled chicken because I'm gonna get anything that's gonna be grilled. Cane's I've only had once, and that was in Texas. Yeah. So that was not too bad. It's just really expensive.
Well, the thing about Cane's is that so we'll get on Chick-fil-A in a second because that'll fire up your viewers. The thing with Cane's is that it's about the sauce. It's not about the actual chicken.
That's fair, actually. Yeah, that's fair. The cane sauce. The cane sauce is good. I like the cane sauce. From what I remember, but it's been like 6 years. But yeah, the actual chicken itself, I don't really remember having, and I've heard that before, where they have like no flavor. We did get an A&W. I actually don't hate A&W.
If you got A&W, that's gold because like fresh root beer from A&W is.
It's not my favorite root beer. It's not my favorite root beer. The favorite one of
fresh from the not from but when they make it fresh on site, A&W is that the kind you have?
Maybe, I don't know. I've only been there once. Okay. I've only checked out once,
and they got cheese curds.
They have cheese curds. I'm gonna do a cheese curd test between them and Culver's. That'll be fun. But typically there's a place actually close where I live now that actually they make their own root beer. And it's good. It's like homemade, all that, and it's just awesome. I'm a big root beer fan, so like I'm
Me
not
too.
gonna it's delicious. But I think overall, like that's one thing about moving back is I'm like, I have more options moving back. We got a lot of family restaurants up there, and I'm stoked because there's one thing that's like shut up and take my money is a good family style restaurant.
So are you talking about like a family style restaurant, or are you talking about a supper club?
A family style restaurant, like a small kind of mom and pop shop kind of restaurant.
Yeah.
I'll go and you get you pay relatively a lower price. You just get big stupid portions, and I'm like, this is why America's fat. And so like I'm totally okay with it. And so. I'm paying $10-$12, but I'm getting, a plate that's like this big.
Gosh, I wish I had places like that where I live.
Pancakes that are like this big around. It is just like you're sitting there, and I'm like for me and my diabetes, I'm like, I'm going to sleep. And
dude, I'm such a fat back. I love food so much. I like and I love places like that. There's no places like that where I live. Ooh. Everything is so expensive. Even the hole in the wall places.
That's
super expensive, and it kind of sucks. I missed off. I know, right? But everyth's so expensive where I live. And I live in South Florida, right? Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, and you get a lot of great Caribbean food. You get a lot of great Hispanic foods from like Venezuela and all that kind of stuff. Surprisingly, like a lot of people don't know this from the Midwest and all that. There's not a big Mexican population here. So like I don't get good Mexican food here at all. I have to make it at home. And I love to cook, so it's no problem. But to get good Mexican food, like the food I grew up with, I have to make it, right? Kind of thing. So yeah, you can get great flavors and all that here, but you're still paying an arm and a leg. Like you're not going to get a big plate of like comfort food, like what you're saying, for like $12. It doesn't exist here, and it's very sad.
No, that would suck. Do you guys do the food trucks?
Yeah, they're very popular here, and they're more expensive than restaurants. Yeah, it sucks. Like, dude, you could ask anybody who lives in South Florida. Like, you go to a food truck, you're paying like $20 for a burger. Like, it's like, what's the point? The whole point of food trucks was that it's supposed to be cheaper and better, but it's not here.
Right. Oh, give me 1 second. I'm gonna check some of my headphones. No, but I do want to say though that when it comes to like that, yeah, that's not even, that doesn't make any sense because. So hold on, let me see. Is it right? Okay, we're good. I'm using just my regular headphones at this point, but that's kind of surprising to me because when it comes to food, like food price, you think the food trucks would be less. Like where I'm at right now, there's multiple places kind of sitting all around that is food trucks. My wife told me that we're supposed to be going. She wants me to go up to this one of the places up about 15 minutes away from here that has a food truck. Was it barbecue? Oh, barbecue food truck.
Nice.
And so I was like, okay, cool. I'll check that out. We have one that is euros. So
okay, I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll do euros. And so I'm going to do, like, I was like, we're going to go to a couple of these. She's like excited to go to them. And I'm like, yeah, no, fuck yeah. Like I would love to just fuck it. Maybe I'll do it like a separate account thing of just going and trying different euros or different food trucks, because I think food trucks are legit. Like typically food trucks are dope.
I'm surprised you guys even have that many up there because it gets so cold. Like to me, how many months of the year can you really run a food truck up there, right? Like 6 maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah, it's getting warmer though, so you're looking at like 7, sometimes 7 months. There was a place that was about 10 minutes from where I work, and even then, like the person was still up year in and year out, like, and I was like, damn, that's respectable. Like I got nothing else to say to it. That's crazy to me. But it was, you know what, food trucks are like, they are just so underrated. And it's, what's great about, I love it too, is that some of these places, like when I look at like, that's why I love like the mom and pop shops. That's why I like the food trucks, because I feel like they're built on passion for what you're doing. Like,
yeah, I wish I could say the same about the food trucks here. See, like we're such a tourist area that like all the food trucks, anything that's like appeals to the masses, it's all owned by rich people, and then they just like, plug people in, because once there's something successful down here, there's so much money here that once something's successful, then there's just this rich person who's going to say, oh, I can do that, and then they boom,
right. Well, you said
everyone out.
You said the oh, that might be mine. Okay. You said the Fort Lauderdale, right? So I don't really know much about that kind of area, but I've heard it is very expensive.
So, it is. You and your wife should come down. I'll show you guys around. It's an awesome part of the country. I love it here. I love living here. And one of the big reasons why I love living here, notice I said South Florida. I did not say Florida. There's a big distinction there, okay? And when you guys get your hands on Grand Theft Auto 6, you'll understand that there's a big distinction between South Florida and the rest of Florida. And when we say South Florida, we really mean Southeast Florida. We're not talking about the west part of South Florida. So when we're talking about South Florida, I've heard people say, I'm not going to say we say, but I've heard people say you have to go north to go to the south, because we're nothing like the rest of Florida. What I love about the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area is everyone is mixed up. Nobody cares about you being black, Hispanic, white, Asian, gay, straight, whatever. It doesn't matter. And like I fell in love with that vibe. Like I fell in love with that atmosphere because um it's just an environment that I think fosters like energy and creativity, um and actual like progress. Now we have our problems, of course, and of course, yes, we do have like segregation with the way some people think and all that. But for the most part, and I've been through this whole country, I've been all the way, like I told you, I've been all through Wisconsin. I've been to almost every single state in this country, almost every single major city in this country. To me, South Florida is really the embodiment of what America is supposed to be. So that's why I love it here so much.
Okay. No, that's fine. My friend said that sounds woke. Him and Jack is one that Jack. I want you on here for the next the next podcast there, Jack. But the Jack and I do we do this a lot where we just constantly say that everything we just go along with everything is woke. Right?
Well, yeah, woke is disgusting, man. Woke is destroying
like
my country.
Do you eat Skittles? Absolutely not. That's some that's some wokeness right there.
No. Do you think I'm going to eat a bag of Skittles and go on a date with a dude? Like, what's wrong with you? That's not going to happen.
How dare you? No, and that's like and that's what cracks me up. That's what cracks me up too. Is like I bring up the whole, when the way that we talk, him and I always talk about it, and it's always funny that way because it's like the way we always bring it up. It's like, oh, this is woke, this is woke, this all everything. Even the bit where he was like, what was it? I was playing. I mean, it was Elden Ring first, and I was losing, and he was like, "Stop being such a DEI gamer." And I was like,
it's funny because like, and that's why I gravitated towards your lives and just like I think that's why we became friends is because I love how you put yourself out there and you just call out how ridiculous and stupid people are when it comes to these things. I like I said, I've been a gamer for a very, very long time, and where video gaming was just individualistic, right? The regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, there was no online gaming. It's just something that you did at home. And it wasn't even in the popular mainstream, right? When you were at school, you didn't talk about Nintendo or Super Nintendo. You talked about sports or whatever social thing that was big then, but back then it wasn't. So gaming was more like a loner rebel kind of activity. And video games were always, I'm going to upset some people if they hear this, video games were always woke. Always, right? Like there never was a time where video games fell into certain cultural norms to appease the masses. And I think as video games got more popular, people gravitated to the games where they associated themselves more. But video gaming as a whole always represented marginalized groups. I remember when I played Metroid for the first time, it was like 1987 or something like that. And when I beat Metroid, like Samus, the famous ending, and if you haven't played it or you haven't seen it, just Google the ending, because it's a hard game. But Samus at the ending, her suit disappears, and she's standing there in her bodysuit, and you're like, I've been playing as a woman this whole time. But here's the thing, and that's one of the greatest twists in video game history. And here's the thing, nobody got mad at it. Everybody was like, that's so cool. Now, hindsight as an adult, I should have known that Samus was a woman this whole time because we would not have had Metroid if it wasn't for the movie Alien. Ridley, Ridley was the boss. It was named after Ridley Scott.
That's fair.
Yeah. So like Alien was the inspiration. Just like how Predator was the inspiration for Contra and games like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of video games in the 80s were inspired from like a lot of movies and records and pop culture and gaming historian. I can go on a tangent on that maybe for another time. But when we found out that Samus is a woman, we weren't mad. We were excited. Like, and so that's why I don't understand gamers today. Those crazy kids, right? Kind of thing. Yeah, I'm gonna sound like an unk here. Is that what they say these days? An unk? We say viejo in my language. But that's why I don't understand these dudes that just like get pissed off and mad and like, oh, they're just trying to be woke with gaming. Dude, gaming's always been woke. You get your head out your butt.
No, that's fair. And that's why I feel like when it comes to people who talk so much about it, the ones who talk so much about it typically don't know anything about it. You know, they typically don't know much about it. They just go based off of what they see from people who have been, you know, who also feed into the same troll. You know, I've noticed throughout the years they've been using different languages trying to just say, you know, I just want a good story. I just want a good story, a good game. I just want a good game. But then like they go play a game where like, you know, you play a game where all of a sudden now it's like you're playing as the female character and the character looks too masculine, or, you know, the fact that, you know, you have a black character like South of Midnight, you know, and I think at some point, you just have to sit there and tell them like it's gotta suck to just be so miserable. Like,
well, and I think we need to unpack psychologically why dudes are getting horny off of pixels.
Yeah.
Like I don't get that. Like, why does your video game character need to turn you on? It's a video game.
I think it's a control thing. Honestly, I think it's a control thing. You know, because I want to see, you know, whatever model it is in the video game, and if I don't get that, even if I'm never going to play the game in the first place, you know, even if and this, you know, this doesn't come from just from like not having like minorities or whatever. It's just the fact of like they don't even play the game they talk about. And then they lose their shit. That's what prawn is for, not video games. Right. Like whatever you do after you put your controller down is all your business. But I don't need your business being into my business.
Look, I get it. There's like there's anime porn, there's boyfriend, girlfriend simulator, video game porn and all that kind of stuff. And you know, that's not where I choose to spend my time, but if somebody spends their time there, like that's you're in your room, that's your business. But when we're talking about things that are in the mainstream, like there's got to be something psychologically off if you're looking for that in something that's mainstream for the masses. And that's why it kind of turned me off, and kind of going back full circle to how we launched our conversation, maybe not on the slide, but when we were offline, when we were talking about gimmicks, right? So I hate gimmicks in games. Like gimmicks in games will turn me off faster from your video game, and I will never play it. And a great example that ties in together those two concepts is that one game that came out, what's it called? With the real like the video game character, overly sexualized character. What was that game? It just came out like last year. What? Stellar Blade. Yeah, I was gonna say Heavenly Sword, but yeah, Stellar Blade, Heavenly Sword, same thing. But Stellar Blade, right? Now, Stellar Blade might be a phenomenal game, but the fact that the developer modeled the main character after a Korean actress that they are obsessed with, and they over-sexualize that character, just walking in knowing that turns me off from gameplay.
Understandable. No, that's fair. And that's, you know, and that does make sense to me. You know, if you base, you know, and the game could be good, you know, the game could be good, but it's like you based your whole game off of, because, and you know, the thing is that they know that it'll sell to horny dudes. And that's what, if you look at the game, watch the trailers for Resident Evil 8 because they pulled the same thing. They said they made Lady Demetrius was the whole center point.
That's like that 8-foot villain.
The 8-foot vampire lady. She's just the first boss. Like that's it. She's just the first boss. But they knew that it would sell to people. And it did. It blew up. She made it into Fortnite. Like, I don't know how much big you get when it comes to gaming. Like, she made it into Fortnite. It was like people were going all over for it. The 8-foot dummy mommy. And she was just the first boss. But they know it's gonna sell because a bunch of horny dudes will sit there and be like, oh, you know what I mean? So, and that's that. I don't actually flack them for doing that. Like because if I got a game that this is one of the things I have in the game, I know it's going to sell, and I just market it, and it makes me a bunch more money off of it. I actually am not. I understand why they do it as a business, because at the end of the day, a lot of those gamers, especially like as we mentioned beforehand, that these video games, gamers beforehand were kind of taboo. They were kind of, these gamers were kind of recluse, and that's actually a topic to discuss too about how I think people need to become more open when it comes to it. But those are the gamers that they know that they're going to buy the product and be like, hey, if I know it's going to do this, then let's just make it work. So, I mean, in terms of a business and marketing strategy, fuck it, horny sells.
Yeah, I mean, sex sells. We know that, right? Yeah. But to me, like, especially with video games, it allows men to behave in their minds they otherwise would not. And another example of that to me is I've heard a lot of comments, read a lot of comments and stuff online about how certain video game characters are not attractive enough. And when you look at the game, that video game character is under the age of 18.
Yep.
And that just scares the hell out of me.
That was the one of the ones that I'm trying to think of off the top of my head was Haley from Spider-Man 2. I saw there's ads. But because it's on Twitch and YouTube, just so you know.
Oh, nice.
But the thing with people were complaining about the character of Haley, who is 15, I think, and being like, oh, she just looks so ugly, blah blah blah, and I'm just you sit there and you're like, maybe we should check your hard drive. Like,
No, but seriously, we laugh, but it's serious.
And the thing is too is so that's an interesting fun fact. People outside of the gaming world underestimate the community for gamers and slash influencers over the years because they thought there would be no voice, yet they are the most vocal. That's true. I believe that. I believe that they're extremely vocal, and I think the thing is that when gaming becomes more mainstream, you're seeing the darker sides of gaming. You saw the positive sides. Now you're also seeing the darker sides, and the people who enjoy that darker sides of gaming. Sorry, I have a knot in my neck. I have. It's been.
I'm just talking about being turned on. I'm just watching you massage yourself. So that's great.
God, it just hurts so bad. Because you sleep wrong. You sleep wrong, and your neck's all fucked up, and it's I can't turn my neck to this. This is about as far as I can turn it.
That's what happens when you get old, dude. That's it.
Yeah, when you get old, I'm not old yet.
Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get mad at me for calling you old?
Right? Yeah, it's like as soon as I turned, I'm like, shit. I hit 30, and all of a sudden it was just like, what is that? Fuck, death is right over there. Like, he's like, hey, buddy.
Wait until you get past 40.
Yeah, I can wait. I can wait. That's why I was like, nah, I think I can live forever. These comments, I'm not gonna lie, dude, what the fuck? I'm not old, just dated. That's worse.
Yeah, I know. I don't know which one's I don't know which one sounds worse, Scorpio.
I'm one good trip away from becoming expired.
It's awesome. See, here's the thing, right? I think when you turn 30, you start thinking about life, and you start, oh my gosh, like you said, death's around the corner, blah blah blah. Once you turn 40, you don't care anymore. You're like, hey man, if I die, I die. There's death. Hey death, you don't scare me no more. Because like I think when you're like shift that cloud, exactly right. I am that view. I am that old man who's just like, damn kids.
I know exactly, and that's why I'm just like, I sat there one. You know how you know that you're old? These are like the tidbits how you know you're old is when you don't understand the language the younger kids are using. Like I just got to the point where I was sitting there and someone was like, "Bro, this is fucking busting," and I'm like, "What? I'm sorry."
Okay,
what?
but here's the thing, right? Because I'm an elder millennial. You're at the end of the millennial, so you're baby millennial. I'm elder millennial, right? So I'm gonna pass on some wisdom to you here. The fact that millennials care that they don't know the nomenclature of the younger generations is the stupidest thing. Like, who cares? Let them say their stupid words. It doesn't matter. And I see so much online where like millennials are like, oh, I'm old. I didn't know there was a new word. I feel so old. Who cares? Who cares? Embrace it. They're going to say stupid. Yeah, there you go, voices.
Well, and I think on top of that too, and this is something that I brought up in a different video, and I brought it up a couple times before, and it's I'll always stress this is that growing and getting older, and this something comes to the point of I was gonna say something that like grows up with like with the older generation of people, and that is the fact that a lot of stuff that is being made now. This is actually something I actually had a conversation with at night about with another in a live I was running with this guy. This guy was like, "Nah, man, these games are trash now compared to what they were before." Blah blah blah, which is one just unequivocally not true, but two, we're not the target audience anymore for a lot of the demographic stuff that gets put out.
100%.
So when you are mad at the fact that these games aren't being made in a way that you would, that you would want to enjoy them, part of the reason is like if you're not the demographic. And I use Pokemon as a prime example. Pokemon's great. I love Pokemon even still to this day. There's no doubt in my mind. If they make a new Pokemon game like they do with ZA, I'm going to go and play it. But when people are like, "Well, I don't like it that the camera's pan back and blah blah blah," and I'm just like, okay, fuck, it's not made for you, bro. Like I know the game. Pokemon's not necessarily made for me.
You're 100% spot on. Now, something your viewers may not know, I'm a huge Nintendo head. Indecipherable. Yeah, see, smiling Jack, you're shaking your fist to the cloud right now. Just embrace it, man. It's okay. So I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy all my life. Let's talk about Super Mario Wonder for a second. I bought Super Mario Wonder, super excited, new 2D Mario. We haven't had a 2D Mario in a very long time. It kind of, if you think about it, it wasn't a shadow drop, but it kind of was, because Nintendo was like, oh, hey, by the way, we were making this, and it releases in a couple of weeks, right? It was very exciting.
Yeah.
So I get Super Mario Wonder, paid what, $60 for it or whatever, because video games are so expensive these days. So I buy Super Mario Wonder. I beat it in like 3 hours. Like I just flew through it because my hand-eye coordination, my muscle memory with Mario games, I know them inside and out, right? I breeze through it. I unlock all the secrets and everything in one day. And a part of me, my knee-jerk reaction was, what the heck, Nintendo? This is way too easy. You're not making a game that's going to challenge me. Like, this is Mario. Like, why did you make it so easy? But in the same moment of reflection, I was like, but I'm looking at this through the lens of somebody who's been playing Mario for decades. I'm pretty sure that like millions of kids across the globe are stuck on this game for months, and they're just loving it. And, you know, all these little hints and easy things that they put into the game that I think are gimmicky and stupid and just shouldn't be there, they're probably loving it. And so I mean, I think that's just an example right there, right? Where like as older gamers, we need to reflect on the why of a game as we get into it. I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you're saying there.
Oh, absolutely. I like that saying, like the why of a game, and and that's something that yeah, when I see people who get mad because a game that they loved is too easy or something like that, and or they just don't like the direction that the game went, and it comes to a point where you're like, bro, this just isn't about you anymore, and I think that's where a lot of you like the
It's
older
true.
gamers struggle with. You're not the target audience anymore. It's not about you. It's about bringing in a younger generation of people who are going to want to play these games for another how many years. And I've heard some back and forth where they're like, well, you still should be tying it to your fan base. And I'm like, I mean, it comes to some point where I'm like, I just don't care what you guys have to say. I'm gonna make this game the way that I want. And this is also leads into when people say, well, they don't video games, the developers, this is something I had to the same conversation. Developers don't they don't listen to their fans. And I'm like, well, but if I'm making, here's the thing, if I'm making an IP, an original IP, I ain't got no fucking fans. like, like like I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But even if I do, and I'm like, hey, we're excited, and I use Call of Duty for a long time, right? I use Call of Duty because Call of Duty has tried to do multiple things. They went and they started going into the futuristic. You guys were fine with that. Then they went a little far to the futuristic. Now you hate it. Then they went back to the past. Now you hate that too. And then you go back to the future. Now you're like, oh, I think it's okay. And then so at some point you just got to be like, fuck it, we're just gonna do it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But we know it's Call of Duty, so you're gonna like it. But like,
Oh, look what Call of Duty did, right? To appease all these ding dongs. They brought back that one character, right?
James Woods, wasn't it? Was it
Yeah,
James Woods?
yeah. Somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't play Call of Duty, but I'm aware of it.
FromSoft listen, no, true. FromSoft listened and delivered, and fans still were bitching, and that's true. You know what I mean? Like FromSoft, you had your fans who were like, the base game for Elden Ring is fucking, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe they made this game fucking easy. And FromSoft was like, okay, we'll make the DLC harder. This game is too fucking hard. It's just bullshit. And you're like, what the, like, and this is why I said before, I'm like, this is not, and this is, gamers don't know what they want. I had a kind of a back and push on that one, but it was just kind of a blanket statement. I know it was a little bit of rage bait, but like, it was just like, a lot of times, I don't think a lot of gamers do know what they want, but they only look at it through the consumer side of things. They don't look at it through the developers, how it takes to write the game, how it takes to develop the game, how it takes to animate the game, all the mechanics that go into there. Like I said, Elden Ring is, another game in a long line, in a decent, I should say, long line of other, FromSoft games. But guess what? That game still took a long time to figure out all the ins and outs and the workings of it.
So it's funny you say that, right? So let's unpack the From Software thing real quick, because I'm kind of both sides of the fence here on what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, but then again, I also agree with the consumer side. So to me, I love hot dogs. I'm a fatback. I'll say this. We can talk about food all day, dude. I love hot dogs. I do not care how the hot dog is made. I don't care what goes into it. I don't care about the production. I don't care. All I care is that I got the hot dog in my buns and I eat it, right? That's all I care about. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And actually making sausage is really complex. But like, okay, so even like, forget hot dogs, dude. I'll use, you're up there in Wisconsin, Johnsonville brat. Oh man, Johnsonville brat's delicious.
No, beer brats are amazing. I don't do the cheddar. If you try to give me one of those cheddar wursts, I swear to God, I'll punch you.
No, but I like the cheddar smoked sausage they make. I love smoked sausage. Yeah. All right. So let's go Johnsonville brat, right? A beer brat. I'm sure, and Johnsonville is the American brat. Like, there's no better brat than a Johnsonville brat. Period. I don't care what other brand you want to throw at me. Johnsonville's the best. I'm sure they're extremely prideful. It's a family-owned company. I'm sure they're extremely prideful how they make it. I'm sure there's like a lot into it with the products they procure, the systems, the processes, all this stuff, right? It's very complex to bring that to my market. I do not care. All I care about is biting into that brat and enjoying it. And it's the same thing with a video game. Now, I hear what you're saying. Dude, the blood, sweat, and tears that the developers do, like all this kind of stuff to make a great experience, right? And they're trying to think through a million different things, from adaptability to accessibility to playability to storyline. Like, it's a lot to juggle. But at the end of the day, when it's in my system and I'm playing it, I honestly don't care. All I want is the right experience as a consumer, right? Now, with that said, if the game's not delivering on the right experience, I'm going to chuck it, never think about it again, and I'm not going to play it. And I don't think that that's unfair of me. It's a free marketplace. That's how free market works.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with you on that. Yeah. Absolutely.
So where I do agree with you, though, holistically, is what we do with the information that we have, right? So like, if I'm going to crap on a product just because I didn't like it, that's where we start having issues. Because like I said, that Johnsonville brat's delicious. Now, somebody may not like brats and they'll take a bite into it and they'll be like, oh, this food was disgusting and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say, what are you saying? What do you mean Johnsonville brats are delicious? They're amazing. Look at all that it takes to make this happen. It's not fair of me to play a game like Final Fantasy 16, right? Let's use that for an example. I haven't played it yet, it's on my backlog. But we know that Final Fantasy famously went to action-based combat as opposed to turn-based. I love turn-based Final Fantasy. Love turn-based Final Fantasy. If they made another turn-based Final Fantasy, I would pre-order it 10 years in advance, take my money. But I know the younger generations are loving action combat in Final Fantasy. It's not fair of me to say, oh, Final Fantasy sucks now because it's live action. Now, it is fair of me to say it's not for me anymore. Okay, fine, whatever. But for me to crap on a product just because it's not what my narcissistic mind thinks of, that's where we have issues. And where I do feel for developers is all these indie developers, all these people who are pouring their heart, soul, and passion into making a new experience and a new game, and it gets lost in the sea of negativity. To me, I think that would be soul crushing.
Yes, and I think I guess also to clarify when I brought it up, like when I look at, I shouldn't bring up because developers are also kind of a separate subject. But I think when I look at it, like it's when I mentioned the gamers don't know what they want kind of situation, and it was kind of it was the fact of like you can get something, you can get a good game, good product, right? And you'll still find something to bitch over. And it's not like complaint like, hey, I don't think the gameplay is really the greatest in this, or sometimes even a boss fight doesn't seem very necessarily fair. It's just like you mentioned, just to scream, right? This sucks because I fucking hate it. And then if you don't like it, how dare someone else go like it, you know? And I think that's one of the biggest problems, because that leads to, in my opinion, kind of sheep mentality. And you're not actually having an actual thought of your own. And two, it leaves in a bad spot, because then it's like, okay, if I say that I don't like FromSoft games because they're too hard, right? But then I also expect them to have, well, these games should be easy because I just want to sit back and I want to relax and play it. Well, then you don't get to have both of what you want. You either go get the game and you play through the game and you do the trials and tribulations, or maybe you just watch it online. You watch someone else play it online and you just go and take a look. We have different ways to go and see these, you know? And I think that one of the things is that, like you mentioned, there's a sense of narcissism with a lot of the consumers. There's a real sense of narcissism, like, make the game for me, but fuck everybody else. You know, why doesn't this game have a single player mode? Why doesn't this game have an easy mode? Why doesn't this game allow me to do blah, blah, blah? And there's so many games out there. Just because, you know, gaming is for everybody, not every game is for everybody. You know what I mean? And I think that's fair. That's fine. It's like no different to me than if I go and I make food, like you mentioned. If you don't like the food, that's fine. But you can't get mad at someone else because they like the food. And I think between that and the expectations that these developers are just, this kind of gets to the developer topic. The developers are just lazy, right? They don't want to make, nobody goes into this fucking field, puts multiple thousands of dollars into a fucking developer to go to college to go and purposely make a game and be like, I'm going to make this as lazy as possible. There are multiple, you know what I mean, that go on behind it, that, because whenever I bring it up, they're like, you know, I do get that too, where it's like, well, I care about what the game comes out as. And I'm like, okay, cool. But if I also say, hey, I'm going to give you guys this, you know, I don't know, game A, right? And this game A is, you know, it had all this stuff in there, and you don't like it because it doesn't have the stuff in there, but you still buy it and you start going after me, and then you start going after the developers saying that they don't know how to make good product. I'm making no fucking sense.
Well, and we also have to remember the number one group that ruins anything good in life are shareholders.
Oh, I was gonna say grifters, but that's a close.
Yeah, grifters too. But from a product standpoint, right? Like
yeah,
anything,
shareholders, yeah.
Right? Anything you've ever loved in life gets ruined once private equity gets their hands on it.
Yep.
And it's no different for video games. And when you have companies like Square Enix, you have companies like Naughty Dog and all this kind of stuff, you get success in the early days because they don't have anybody pressuring them. Right. But once private equity gets their hands on it, hey, how come this game's not released yet? You need to push this out. You need to make this happen. And so now we're in this world where they're intentionally releasing broken games. They're intentionally releasing games where we're blaming developers for decisions that aren't their faults either.
No, I agree with that. I think of like Black Ops 4, for example, is one of the things that comes into my mind, where Black Ops 4 was originally supposed to have zombies, I believe. Like it was supposed to have like it's supposed to have a single player campaign, and it doesn't. And it was because they were like halfway done with the single player, and then they were like, nope, we're doing battle royale instead. So I definitely agree with that. I agree that the shareholders, because developers take the brunt of the damage for the decisions that shareholders make. Because the developers are literally just going and they're making the games based on what they think is the best, you know. And so I definitely can agree with that.
Yeah. So I know you didn't want to get on down the developer route, but
it's fair. It's fair. Because developers developers do their best that they possibly can. And then, you know, it doesn't help that you have, like I said, then you have on the consumer end, you have the gamers who are just screaming at the rooftops of being like, we don't want a game like this. And then it's like, okay, well, like I don't know what else to tell you. Also, and this is where I think I made a video on this too, is the fact that gaming as a gamer, you should be kind of ecstatic to watch games evolve, in my opinion. You should be kind of ecstatic to watch games evolve. You should be ecstatic to watch games. Someone tried to say that the reason why gaming is failing is because of graphics, and they're we're more focused on graphics. And I was like, what do you fuck you talking about? Like, I was like, this sounds stupid. Like, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how are they focused? They're like, well, if they weren't focused on graphics, they'd be able to work on their gameplay. And that just means the developers are just lazy and they just want, and I was like, someone's been playing Madden for way too long. But like it just,
I've never heard anybody complain about the evolution of games like that. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and that's what I told them, because they're like, well, it's no different and that we see now. And I'm like, and I told him, I'm like, you're young, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm like 17. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, that's perfect. Because for someone who grew up with the you know, Game Boys and the N64, then moved to PS2, I've seen the development of graphical. What you guys are seeing are pretty much the end point. Like, this is why people were saying, this is why I also preach heavily on gaming aesthetic. The visual artistic aesthetic of a game to me is more important than how the characters just look. Because to me, like, if the game, because I can watch a game like The Last of Us and see that, yes, the game looks pretty and stuff, but it doesn't draw my eye. Expedition 33 does that. Ori and the Blind Forest does that.
Ori, yeah, great example.
You know, in those games, because they look, I mean, obviously that's the point of The Last of Us, so I'm not taking it away from it. But and this is why I also mentioned that I think that what was it? Grand Theft Auto 5 is visually unappealing. It's just, and I understand it because the area that you're in, it's basically just a big ass dust bowl. But there is nothing that really stands out in my eyes of why I would visually pick this up.
It's so funny you say that because I remember when Uncharted came out, the first one, and I wasn't interested in playing it. To me, it was just a Tomb Raider clone. And I'm like, okay, it's Tomb Raider, but with a dude. And I remember when they were first really advertising Uncharted, the selling point was, look at the water. It's so realistic. And I was like, I'm not buying a video game to look at water. I don't care.
That's so dumb. Like, just like, dude, do you love this? This is like imagine going to like a store and they got like, hey, you like this water bottle? Good fucking water bottle, okay? It can handle some good fucking
That's
water.
why I am such team Nintendo. And I don't think people understand this that are so against Nintendo, right? There's a lot of haters against Nintendo. Fine, whatever, you don't like their business practice, whatever. They just keep releasing the same games and make it more expensive. Wah, wah, wah. Fine, go emulate, go break the law. I don't care. But the thing is with Nintendo has won as many times as they failed because they try to make new experiences. All throughout Nintendo's history, it was like, okay, hey, we struck gold with the NES. We struck gold with the Game Boy. We struck gold with the SNES. Oh, we really screwed up with Virtual Boy. That was right? Okay, we're going to try something new, GameCube, or we struck gold with the N64. This is great. Okay, now we need to up our game. Let's try GameCube. We're going to get into discs, but we're going to make them little discs. I don't know why, but we are. So GameCube, right? Just really not a success, right? But Nintendo's not afraid to say, we're doing something different so you can have a different experience, a familiar but different experience, right? And they keep doing that. I think that's why with like Switch 2, yes, I did get my day one reservation and I'm really happy about that. But I think that's the thing with like Switch 2, why I'm not like, because remember we were talking when they gave the announcement a few weeks back, and I was just kind of like, as a lifelong Nintendo fanboy, I'm really not that excited because I didn't see the innovation pushed on Switch 2 like I've seen with everything Nintendo has done. And I get why, but I'm hoping to see some more innovation in the future with Switch 2. Because that's what Nintendo's all about, man. And what I love about Nintendo is that they're not afraid to say, we're not jumping on the graphics trend because it doesn't make sense. Right. We're not afraid to not get into VR because it doesn't make sense for us, right? And you've got to respect those bold moves, that they're not concerned about the market direction. They're concerned about the experience that they're giving.
Right. Amazing. Oh, yeah. No, and like to me, the Switch 2 just seems like a cleaned up version of the Switch. Like it just, it's more cleaned up. It's like, okay, with the Switch was the first test run, and then we're going to actually give the actual product is the Switch 2. And I do respect Nintendo for at least going and trying to do different things. Yes, I do understand people complaining about the same games or whatever it is. Personally, when you really look at, but if you really go and look at their backlog, they all play the same shit. So like when you look at a person's backlog, they'll all have kind of a trend around them. Like I don't know what else to fucking tell you. Like but like you mentioned before, there's another thing I wanted to bring up too. And this is one of the newer ones. The video that I just put out that I wanted to talk about too was that I put, and I don't know if you saw this, but I said that nostalgia can hurt. It definitely hurts players' gaming experience.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, that was great insight.
Okay, and so I it was someone else. I think it was Jack in the comments brought it up earlier, but I do believe that wholeheartedly that it does damage the gaming experience like a lot. And it's because of the fact that we bring it around to what we mentioned about the old dudes who are like, why can't these games be like when I was a child? And I'm like, I don't think I would trust myself as a 7-8-year-old to say that this game was amazing. Like some of y'all were
Yes.
eating glue, and like you're gonna sit there and try to. This is the same motherfucker who sat there and was sniffing the fucking crayons and like markers and stuff. And that same kid is the one that you're gonna be like, oh yeah, definitely. Glover was one of the greatest games of all time. Like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like this.
But that's why I say Final Fantasy VI is the greatest game of all time, because it stands the test of time. It is still immersive. The character building, the story, the music, the lore, the monster catalog, the weapon catalog, it stands. It's not just me smiling saying there, rose tinted glasses, right? I'm looking at it objectively as an adult and as when I first experienced it, and it still stands. But there's not a lot of games like that. There's not.
And that's why I looked at I lose Sly 2, for example, right? Sly 2 is a game to me that I loved it as a kid, and I love it replaying it as an adult. And a lot of the reason why is because I get the nuances in Sly's story. I get it from the first one to the second one. I'm understanding it a lot more as myself now, and so I find it interesting. And I do kind of have a bit of a struggle with some of the people who, I said in the video, and I still say it today to this point, where I'm just like, you when you sit there with those rose tinted glasses on constantly, and you sit there and you have a tendency to omit things that were not good.
Mm.
A lot of people who have the rose tinted glasses will tend to omit things that were not good when they were a kid playing the games. Like I mentioned, Wave Race, for example. Wave Race is one of my favorite games. It's simple as shit. It's just jet skiing, and I thought that was awesome. And it's chill.
I hate that game.
But why? Like, why are you doing this? Like,
because the controls are so terrible.
They're not that bad.
They're awful. Come on.
They're not good. They're not good, but it's also because the water, like for the time period, the water motions and stuff were actually pretty.
Yeah, for sure. Good. But have you played it on Switch Online? It's awful.
Yes, I have. I have my Switch. I have my Switch right here.
It's terrible.
Like it's great. But and I think someone mentioned Jet Moto. I'm gonna be honest. I remember I went and played Jet Moto. It was on the PlayStation. They brought it back, and I was like, Jet Moto fucking sucks. Like I was like, I don't know why the fuck I played this. But at the time period, I'm sure that I would enjoy Jet Moto.
Yeah.
Just like in the time period, I enjoyed Wave Race. And it's so bare bones simplistic that I can't really, like, for some reason they're like, yeah, you got to keep going left and right through these little buoys, and I'm like, yeah, you can tell this game was definitely made by Kawasaki. But
it's funny because I've mentioned this on your other lives before, is that like, so in my top, it's got to be, well, probably not in the top 5 anymore because Konami really just let it die. But it's still in my top 10. It's still got me in my top 10 franchises of all time. I'm just a huge fan of Castlevania. Big time fan of Castlevania. I think Super Castlevania 4 is the greatest Castlevania of them all. And when I say that, people are like, oh, Symphony of the Night is the greatest Castlevania of all time. And I think,
I remember you talking about this.
Right. And I think that is the nostalgia train, not actually looking at things objectively like we're talking about here. Symphony of the Night. Now, I may make jaws drop here, whatever. You may lose subscribers. I hope not. Symphony of the Night's not a good game. It's just not. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Phenomenal. But when you look at the game and actually play it, it's extremely easy. The weapon selection and choice is way overwhelming, and it makes no sense why there's so many weapons because you're not even going to use them. Yeah, Jack. Also, the map layout for a Metroidvania, it's not that great. It's very redundant. It's very repetitive. Yes, there are some, I'm not taking away from the game. There are some memorable bosses. There are some memorable moments. The voice acting's terrible. It's just not a great game. It is an influential game. It is a game that set a whole genre along with Super Metroid. I will give credit where credit's due. But if you actually go back and play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you're going to get done with it in about an hour and a half, and you're going to be like, yeah, it wasn't as great as I thought it was.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. And I've, like I said, I've never really played much of any of the Castlevanias. I've played the Metroidvania style games. I love them. But I've never played an actual Castlevania.
You go play Symphony of the Night. I would love to get your take on it. You know, you can get through it. Like, you got a day to kill. You can get through it. It doesn't take very long at all. And I'd be interested to get your take since you've never really played it and I've only talked about it.
Yeah, I can go check to see if it's on somewhere. I know, like, the only Castlevania I guess I can say I played a little bit. Was it Lord of Shadows? Was that the one in the 360? Was that the one that was
that's where they try to do a reboot of the series with Mercury Stream at the helm, and I thought that was just disgusting.
Yeah, I played it for like 30 minutes and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. I'm gonna go play Ninja Gaiden 2. But
as you should.
Yeah, because Ninja Gaiden 2 is great. It is. It's such an. I love Ninja Gaiden 2. Despite the fact of not being good at it, like, which is crazy to me, because I'm like, damn, how the fuck am I not good at Ninja Gaiden 2? Like, my ADHD should be just cruising on this right now. Like, we should be linked, locked in, everything. And my whole ADHD was like, ooh, a pedal. And so like, and I was like, damn it, yeah, we're not working again. But that's something with but I do want to ask, and this is going to be an interesting, I don't know, this is going to be one that you might be able to decide, might not. A game, and this is actually going to be a discussion thing.
Okay.
A game that you found that you liked when you were a child that you did not like as an adult. You came back and you're like, this game is not nearly as good as I should be.
Oh, okay. A game I liked as a kid, but not nearly enough as an adult. I know there's got to be a few of them. I would have to say for sure. Gosh, man, because when I was a kid, all the games that I played were bangers. Think through the Nintendo and Super Nintendo catalog. A lot of great games there. It's hard for me to answer, man, because I grew up in the golden era of gaming, and games are good.
That's why I'm as a fun thing, just because it's a very difficult question. Like, I have one, and it's actually probably crazy. It's actually Ratchet and Clank 1.
Really? I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Yes, and the reason why it's a lot of it comes down to gameplay. So they didn't have time to include this strafe feature in it. So you're kind of just awkwardly running around trying to just lob bombs and other weapons at enemies without a lock-on. They did a really janky lock-on system, and it just was not a fun experience to go back and replay. I'm like, I actually hate this. I was not having fun with it at all. And I got to the point where I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I didn't even get to the chance to finish it. I was like, I just don't care.
See, there's a lot of games that like, even as a kid, even in their day, they got really crappy reviews, but I still love playing them. I'll give a couple of examples here. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link on the NES is notoriously known. Even Miyamoto is like, that game's terrible. I love Zelda 2. I love it. It's quirky, it's weird, it's funky. But I would have to say a game that, like, it is hard, right? It's hard because, like I said, I grew up with the golden era of gaming. Like, Nintendo, Super Nintendo was such a gift to grow up with those systems. There's a lot of games on the 64, though, for sure, where I spent a lot of my life playing, and I won't play as an adult, and I don't think they're that great. And here's one. This is another hot take here. Mario Kart 64. And I know some people think Mario Kart 64 is one of the greatest Mario Karts ever. I don't. I think it's wonky and janky. I won't really play Mario, and I probably have literally over 1,000 hours of gameplay in Mario Kart 64 back from the 90s. But I won't play it now.
I typically won't either. Okay, bye. Like I typically won't either. Like, oh, Crash Team Racing was the best. That's interesting. But I think with Mario Kart 64, I think the only thing that when it comes to Mario Kart 64 that I actually kind of wish they continued is the time. Like they would tell you what time you got, and I liked that.
On the laps,
they don't do that. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. But like, except for like the very end. But other than that, yes, I would agree because honestly, I find Mario Kart 64 incredibly boring.
Yeah, the tracks are very basic. They're not very challenging. Like I said, the controls are a little wonky. They're not very tight.
Music though.
Oh yeah, the music's great.
My brain literally pulled straight to Rainbow Road, and I was just like, just like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep, and that's all I'm gonna see here in like my dream is just Rainbow Road.
You know what? You know what?
Like, what are you doing? Sorry.
Speaking of Rabbit Trail, I loved how they handled Rainbow Road in the Mario movie. Yes. I love how they embraced no rails, how like you could just fall off, and I really loved that they embraced that there's shortcuts on the track. And if you catch all of that in the movie, they capture that whole vibe in the race. And it felt like I was playing Rainbow Road when I watched the movie. It was so well done.
I will say I did crack up when they brought in as soon as I saw the turtle with the blue shell, and I was like, I just had the biggest smile on my face.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh damn. I'm like, yep, I know exactly what's going on. No one else, everyone else in that theater, if you knew, you knew. Like no, I got one. Most of the Twisted Metals.
Agree.
I actually never played Twisted Metal. I've never played.
You're not missing out.
Like they looked cool. Like of course, like like you're like the edgy, Actually, I do have one. The old Tony Hawk Pro Skaters. Pro Skater 1, Pro Skater 2. I liked them as a kid. Don't like them as much as an adult. And what's funny is I played Skate. Never went back. Because I don't like the old cartoony over the top when it comes. I like the feeling of actually knowing that I pulled the trick. Fuck you, Jack. But like, but like, I love the fact of knowing that like I'm doing the tricks myself. And
so I got one for you. It's not on a console, but it is a video game that I used to love to play. And if I see a machine now, I won't even touch it, and I just want to kind of throw up in my mouth a little. And that is Golden Tee.
What the fuck, man? Like Golden Tee? I love Golden Tee,
dude. Like, and I see them now for like nostalgia. I'll see like Golden Tee 99 or whatever. Out in the wild at a bar or something, and I'm just like, ugh. And okay, so it's kind of funny because I love, like I said, I love good food, man. We spent a good hot minute talking about food. I'll try not. I know this is not a food.
No, it's all good, man.
But I love food so much, and I love McDonald's. Like, ever since McDonald's came out with their $5 value meal, like I think I'm keeping McDonald's afloat because like I have to get it all the time. It's only $5, and you get a sandwich and nuggets and fries and a drink. Such a good deal. Anyway, this podcast is sponsored by McDonald's.
It's just a 4 for 4.
But I love McDonald's. I love their nuggets. I love their double cheeseburger.
Wendy's, like you have some pride.
How's there not pride? I love McDonald's.
You gotta get the Wendy's 4 for 4. They're
okay,
better.
But McDonald's French fries are superior.
But Wendy's
that's S tier fries.
Are superior.
Wendy's what?
Wendy's burgers are superior.
Wendy's has a good burger. I love the Baconator. I'm not going to take away from that. But
Smash Burger.
I can pass on Smash Burger. I think it's overpriced. But McDonald's, I love their double cheeseburger, especially when you add mac sauce. Oh, now we're talking. Now, here's the funny thing. What?
Isn't that just Thousand Island?
Who cares? It's good. So, so anyway, there's one thing on McDonald's that I just don't like, and that's the Big Mac. I think it's just like too much bread and lettuce, and it just doesn't work for me.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Once a year, I buy a Big Mac to remind myself I don't like Big Macs. And I will buy a Big Mac and I'll eat it and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't like this because there's so much bread and there's so much lettuce and I just don't like it. I do the same thing with video games. With video games like Golden Tee. If I see Golden Tee in a bar, I'll throw in well, I don't know if you can do quarters anymore, but I'll throw in some money and I'll play Golden Tee and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's why this game sucks. Because the stupid ball you gotta roll and like the graphics are off and like it's just wonky. Like that's how I feel about Golden Tee. That was a long way to explain that I don't like Golden Tee anymore.
Yeah,
I used to play Golden Tee.
Okay. Like I was like, damn, like I don't think I've ever. No, I got nothing. But like, I think it's just I'm not gonna lie. It's like I would replace. Like, I love Golden Tee, and I think it's because like you mentioned, the nostalgia of just rolling the ball back and forth. It's super inconsistent, but I'm totally fine with it. I love if I'm gonna play one, it's gonna be Hot Shots Golf instead. And it's funny because that game actually, like my wife, when we first started dating, she'd be like, "Why are you so mad?" I'm like, "Because I'm playing Hot Shots Golf and I'm not doing well." She's like, "What's Hot Shots Golf?" And I showed it to her, and she's like, "Are you fucking serious?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a struggle. Okay, like you don't even know."
Aren't they coming out with a new one?
Yeah, like everybody golfs something. They already have one called Everybody Golfs. And trigger golf.
Trigger golf.
When you play it, but instead of using clubs, you just use guns and you just boom, like you just shoot the ball.
GTA golf, I love it.
Oh man, I would fucking love it.
But I love golf games. Like I love Mario Golf. I'll play Mario Golf any day.
I like Mario. I mean, Mario Golf is just Hot Shots Golf.
Yeah, but you get to stare at King Boo's sweet booty cheeks.
Damn, you're right. Like, what are you doing? Nothing.
Nothing.
Not your mom.
My hands are above the blanket.
It reminds me of this. So it was a really funny story when I was at a friend's house and his brother brought over an Xbox. And we were all, he's got a bunch of games in there. And his mom didn't really pay attention to any of the games. And we found Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Oh man, yeah, another gimmicky game. Okay, yeah.
And so there's there's 12, 13-year-old me and the friend, and we're sitting there playing it back and forth. And his mom comes downstairs and she's like, "What the hell are you guys playing?" And we're like, "Volleyball."
What are all these polygon boobies doing?
Yeah, we're just playing volleyball. Why are they in bikinis? Because it's on a beach. Well, if there's anything, I will be back for this. And so we walk back upstairs, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh,
I'm getting into trouble.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, adolescence, like I get it. Adolescence is strong. I was a dumb adolescent at one point in my life, and that's why I even got into Street Fighter. On the
Chun-Li thighs, or what?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if I can share my screen or not. I'm gonna, but if you look up Street Fighter 2 SNES original box, let me see here. Okay. So if you see the back of the box art of Street Fighter 2, I'm trying to find an image of it. Man, it's hard to find the back. I only see the front. Let's see here. Yeah, so there's just like, well, the back or the front of the box, I guess. Front of the box too. But like, it's just like Chun-Li standing there and like little Chrono looking at that box, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And that's why I got into Street Fighter 2, because of Chun-Li. You know, and I can look back and I can chuckle at that because I'm not a grown man. And, you know, we talked a lot about like grown men and their mentality towards video games and pixels and stuff like that. And when it comes to grown men, yes, I do think we should be more responsible on how we view things. But as an adolescent, you know, as a male adolescent, you can't control your brain. So I was young, I was stupid once. And Chun-Li is the reason why I even picked up Street Fighter 2.
You know, you had to have a reason, and they were like, "We got him.
We got him. we got Chun-Li.
Got him." And that's why I can't even get mad at that either, because like it's really funny when I look at like the like teenage me playing like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball and just being like, this is the game of the game where I beat people up.
And you just look back and realize how stupid it was, right?
Oh yeah, it was just simple volleyball. It was just volleyball back and forth. But I'm like, I think I'm winning. But
that's funny, man. That's funny.
That shit fucking cracks me up. But man, it's been nice having you up on here.
Yeah.
Dude. I'm not gonna lie, like
it's been a long time coming. Like I just feel humbled and honored that you invited me to your podcast. I've never done a podcast before, so new to me. And
second or third person to tell me that.
Dude, I'm not famous like you. I'm just a dude.
I'm not famous at all.
Yeah, you are.
I got a shout out from the Mindful Gamer. Last night or the night before, I think. Yeah, last night I think it was. He was like, "Oh yeah, if you guys like discussions, definitely go check them out." And I'm like, "Really?"
Dude, okay, so like as we wrap up, look, I'm just gonna be real with you, man, and I think, you know, especially as men, we need to encourage each other. We need to compliment each other more. Dude, I think what you do is amazing. I've told you this before, but I'll say it again. You put yourself out there, you speak on issues that you really care about. There's a lot of toxicity in gaming, and we need people giving positive messages and saying, hey, it's okay to experience things that you're not accustomed to. It's okay to grow as an individual. It's okay to accept new things. You fight that toxicity in gaming, and that's why I'm going to continue to be a friend. I'm going to continue to be a fan of the work that you do. Because we need that, and whether you have a huge audience or a small audience, it makes a positive impact, and that's just what we got to do going forward in the gaming community.
No, exactly, and I appreciate that a lot, because I do. Like, I think it's been really fun, and so unfortunately, when TikTok finally goes away or wherever the hell happens to it, if it's on another platform, then my goal is to bounce from that platform to the other, and whether if it's on Twitch, I might do these kind of live things up on Twitch and continue to do them as well, because I like to keep them going here. I kind of miss playing NES Open. Also, I got a question for y'all. A game you've never got to finish and wish you had or could now, but never could because blah, blah, blah reasons.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of like the Professor Calamitous from fucking video games. Like, I just feel like I never fucking finish any of them. Like, I get close and then I start. My biggest problem, it comes into the, like you start doing side missions, and then you start doing side missions. Then you do more side missions, and you do more side missions. And I've realized I completely forgot what the main mission was. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to save the world somehow, maybe. Like, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I've got one that haunts me in my heart to this day. And one thing that I'm thinking about doing is maybe start doing some live streaming of me playing video games like you do. But I want to do it with the Nintendo and Super Nintendo, kind of like from that game historian perspective.
Okay.
But I don't know how well it'll translate, because I like to play it on my CRTV and not an emulator. But a game to this day that still haunts me in my heart that I've never beat, and I shelved it because it's just way too hard, and I never had the patience or took the time to learn the patterns to actually beat it right. Battletoads.
Mm.
I've always wanted to beat Battletoads. Maybe someday I will, but even to this very day, playing it for all these decades, I've still never beaten it.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's a shame I carry.
No, I did. Did I ever beat that? Oh, I don't think I did. No, I shouldn't think about it. I think it might be. No, I think I did beat Majora's Mask. No, it was Wind Waker because I never even had a chance. I've played some of it, but I've never actually finished it.
You never finished Wind Waker?
Yeah, no, I've never finished Wind Waker.
Wind Waker has one of the greatest stories of all Zelda video games. I highly suggest you revisit it if you can.
I believe it is coming to the Switch too.
Is it? Did they announce that?
Yeah, it's one of the GameCube, little GameCube ones.
Oh, that's right. It is.
I might
Yes. Awesome.
Tomb Raider, Hot Shots Golf. It's Hot Shots Golf. That one's just more replayable. And
I don't care about Tomb Raider at all. So yeah, I'll play.
I love Tomb Raider, but I'll take Hot Shots Golf. And then he said, for me, it's The Adventure of Bayou Billy.
Yes, that's a tough one too. That's a funny game. That game takes place in Louisiana. It's like the swamp dude. It's pretty cool.
That's cool. But alrighty, man.
All right, man. Thanks for bringing me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for everybody else who is sitting here, remember, catch me up on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. We'll be doing. I want to try to start doing podcasts every week or every 2 weeks. So we're trying to get that going here. So that's gonna be my thing here. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, guys, you guys have a fantastic day. I'm Taylor from Afro Fish OG, and I'll catch you all in the next one.